Hey guys, Andrew McFarlane here from StartAJuiceBar.com. Hope you're happy, hope you're healthy. And today we are talking about the top 6 mistakes that I see food service and aspiring food service entrepreneurs make when developing their menus. Before I get into today's content, if you guys are new to the channel and you don't know who I am and you don't know what we do for over the last 10 years, myself and our agency has had the pleasure of not only running our own food service and juice bar businesses, as well as helping hundreds of entrepreneurs like yourself launch, scale, and grow healthy food service concepts all over the world. So all the information you're getting here is coming from experience and not just hypothetical. Also, if you guys aren't new to the channel and you've been enjoying the content, now's an invitation to press the like button. This helps people get exposed to this information, and we can help create the world, a healthier world, by exposing more people to this content. So diving in, what are the top 6 things that I see? As I'm sure you know, we've talked to so many people and I see so many patterns in the way people approach their menu development, either from a conceptual standpoint or actually from a implementation standpoint. And there are a lot of common mistakes that I'm sure a lot of you guys out there haven't really thought about the implications of. So we're going to walk through those. And know that all these points that I'm making, we do have other videos on the channel that dive into these topics more deeply, but right now I really want to give an overview. So the first thing that I see, and the first mistake, is I see a lot of people getting free recipes online. We live in a day of information. Having free content is great, but getting free recipes for your business is a huge mistake, and I'll tell you why. Because when you're developing a menu for a business, it's very different than when you're developing menus for yourself at home. There are ingredients that you might use at home, making smoothies, for example, that you don't want to use in a business, either because they don't have a long shelf life or they might be expensive. There's all kinds of considerations that come into creating a menu and a recipe for a business that you don't have to consider as a consumer. So a lot of the recipes that you're looking at that are free and are online are really for consumers. They're not made for businesses. The second thing, which I'll elaborate on as well in another point, is that your menu isn't a bunch of isolated recipes, right? Your menu should have a cohesion on the operational front, okay? So don't think about your menu as, hey, this recipe tastes good, this recipe tastes good, this recipe tastes good, and all together it makes a great menu. That's a reasonable thought process, but it's not what needs to be in place when you're actually creating a menu for a food service business. So that's the first thing. Number 2, this came up because we're working with a client right now developing their menu. And this client, in terms of the intentions and the kind of recipes they've wanted to create, has really just sent us a bunch of recipes from other businesses and saying, hey, can you recreate some variation of this? Right? I know their ingredients are this, and maybe you can come up with the formulations. Now, this is a problem for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that you want to, as a business, have original recipes, right? Things that are unique to your customers. But 2, it also presumes that that business actually got their recipes right to begin with. Now, I know from being in this industry for over a decade and going to a lot of restaurants, I eat out a lot of businesses actually don't have well thought out menus. Their recipes are okay. Maybe 20% of businesses have really refined recipes, but most of them don't. So you're assuming that this company has the perfect recipe, and a lot of times they don't. And so they have made oftentimes the same mistakes that most of you may make having not watched this video, but after you watch this video, you're going to be more well informed. And so you don't want to build on something that may have imperfections to begin with. So that's the second reason. What's the third mistake that I see a lot of food service entrepreneurs make when developing their menus? You guys may have heard me talk about this on other videos, but it's having too many recipes on your menu. A lot of you guys, and I've suffered from this too, trust me, I'm speaking from experience. I made all of these mistakes and more when I started my first food service business. And you really hate the idea to imagine that someone might walk into your door and ask for something and you'd have to turn them away or just tell them that you didn't have it, right? It pains us to think that we didn't have everything for everyone. But this is a huge mistake, because if you observe, the largest food service companies in the world have very limited menus, very, very specific. Their inventory is very tight. And so what is the problem with having a menu that's too large? your vendors require wholesale minimums. And when your menu is large, it means your inventory very likely is going to be large. And when you have to order apples, 40 pounds at a time and cucumbers 20 pounds at a time, all of these things require that you go through them on a reasonable basis before they spoil. So if you have a large inventory, it's going to lead to a lot of spoilage because you're going through larger quantities of fewer items, meaning that instead of going through that 40 pounds of apples, you maybe go through 5 pounds of it, and maybe 5 pounds of cucumber, and 5 pounds of bell pepper, and 5 pounds of, the list goes on and on and on, instead of just actually going through a larger volume of fewer items. So this is one of the big things if you want to save on food costs, save on spoilage, keep your inventory tight, and don't have 101 things on your menu. All right, that's number 3. What's number 4? Number 4 is believing that you are all of your customers. And what I mean by that is that the things that you like, everybody's gonna like. And the things that you don't like, everybody's not gonna like. But the truth is that your customer base is within a spectrum. And you have to really understand what the intentions of your products are and who they're for, whether it's times of day that people want to eat or drink certain things, or it's the kind of person, what their habits are, right? You want to work within that spectrum because although you are maybe one of your customers, you're not all of your customers. So don't assume that you should just make all the products for yourself. If you are, and you do get around to testing recipes, make sure you let other people in a good variety and spectrum of kinds of people try your recipes to see what they like. Because I know for sure, having had my own food service businesses, I didn't love everything that was on our menu. Meaning I liked it, I appreciated it, and it was a well-designed recipe, but it wasn't for me. But I knew it didn't need to be because I wasn't the person, I wasn't every one of my customers. There were a spectrum of people who were coming into my juice bar businesses, people who were new and just started taking on the habit, and people who had been maybe juicing for 20 years, and they're going to want different things. And so it's important to consider that when it comes to developing your recipes. What's number 5? This is not having accurate measurements. This is one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make when developing your menus. It's enough work to go through the process to actually put recipes together, and I see a lot of, part of a lot of the work that we do is we find other people who have been in business and they come back to us and say, hey, we've been in business for a year, 2 years, but we still need to refine our recipes. There's inconsistencies in our output. Why? Because they either just don't have measurements or their measurements are inaccurate. They might say a handful of this, a dash of that, a splash of this, and those aren't measurements that you can work with for a business because it creates inconsistencies for the output, which means the customer is going to have a very inconsistent experience where one day they liked it, the other day they didn't like it, one day they got a full portion, the other day they got a half portion because it depends on who's in your staff and how big their hands are, and there's so many variables. The other big issue with this is it doesn't lead to consistent costing, which brings me to number 6, the final one. This is a mistake that I see so many food service entrepreneurs make. They say they're going to get around to it, they don't do it, and this is costing out your menu. I've seen people who have 50% food costs, right, and product cost. You can't run a food service business with those kinds of margins, but if you can't measure it, you don't know, and you can't control it. So costing out your menu is critical. This is why the process of developing a menu is very involved. It's crucial to your bottom line, because without products that make money, your business doesn't make money. And so it is a process of going to the grocery store, trying out certain recipes, seeing if they taste good. Then you find, oh, I like the taste. Then you have to cost it out. Oh, this costs too much money. We need to go back and recreate it. Back and forth. I know for myself personally, I spent thousands of dollars just on groceries, not to mention the time that it took. It took weeks to actually develop my menu, but that's sometimes what you have to do. Or, you have to get other people who know what they're doing to actually create it for you. So this is something that you're interested in. We do have a full spectrum agency. We've got chefs on our team. We've created hundreds of menus, and so we can support you with this. If you'd like to have a conversation about that, reach me at Andrew@StartAJuiceBar.com. Would love to discuss what your intentions are for your menu and your products, and also relieve you of the headache of having to do it yourself and making sure that you get it right the first time. I hope you guys enjoyed this content. I hope it's been informative to you. So if you do decide even to take it on by yourself, that you actually are empowered and you know the direction to take when it comes to developing your menu and the roadblocks and the mistakes that you don't want to make in this arena. So if you guys haven't hit the like button yet, now's the time to do it. If you like the content, press that below. If you have any questions or comments or just want to let me know you like the content, that also goes in the comment box below. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you definitely want to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that will alert you when we release new content. If you're not following us on Instagram, follow us on Instagram at StartAJuiceBar. We also have a podcast on Spotify. We also have a podcast on iTunes. You can follow us at the Juice Bar Experts there. We also release all of our content for the podcast, and we have blogs on our website at StartAJuiceBar.com, and you can also reach me there as well. Looking forward to hearing from you guys. Hope you're happy, as I said before. Hope you're healthy. Hope you guys find thriving businesses, because together we do need to make the world a healthier place, and in order to do that, we have to give people access to healthy food service businesses. So that's our commitment, to empower you guys so we can create that world. And until next time, see you soon. Take care. I hope you guys have been enjoying all of the content. If you're in a place where you are really inspired to start your juice business, but you're not exactly sure what the next steps are, for you, we've created a free ebook, The 15 Steps to Starting Your Juice Business from Scratch. This is going to give you an overview of everything that you need to do, from just having a concept all the way to launching your business. Beyond that, if you're inspired to go even deeper, we've created an online course, the Juice Bar Master Blueprint, that is going to go into great detail into every single area of launching a successful juice business. There's links for both of these in the description below. I know you'll find a lot of value out of them. As always, wishing you guys a lot of success, and I'll see you at the next video.